And if you can, like, imagine or remember your experiences of a medical visit in the United States or Europe, or and then imagine the complete opposite, and that was this clinic. It was crowded, noisy, felt pretty unsanitary, and the nurse came out to the waiting room and led me into this small closet where there was a bed, and above the bed was a television screen that was playing an episode of Barney, the purple dinosaur, on it. And it was like totally just this bizarre moment. I laid down on the bed and I'm watching Barney. And then this kid comes in and he's maybe 18 years old by a couple of weeks. And he's my radiologist. He's going to do my sonogram that they're going to conduct on my liver to see how badly my liver is damaged. And I looked at him and I looked up at the TV screen and I said, Barney? And he went, yeah, it's Barney. It's good, no? I was like, yeah, it's fine. And then he flipped a switch and it switched over to to the interior monitoring panel. I guess he just liked to watch Barney when people weren't there getting tested. And I asked him how long he had been working, and he said 2 weeks, 2 semanas. And so he was brand new to the job, and he starts to wand my abdomen with the wand, the sonogram wand, and he starts to get really excited, and he's pointing up to the television, and he says, "Mira, hay cirrhosis aquí, y hay cirrhosis aquí, y en todos lados de su hígado hay cirrhosis." He's saying there's cirrhosis here, the cirrhosis there, it's all over your liver. And he's so excited about it. He's like a kid who's, has a metal detector at the beach, and he's just discovered his first gold coin. And I want to be happy for him, but he's telling me that I'm going to die.
Very funny. So just yeah, the little story there. So my son else he has autism and he needs to, and he's always reenacting a movie scene all the time, everywhere. And I thought that he was having a severe pain issue, back issue, something of some kind. He was hunched over in his bed and he wouldn't stand up. And I panicked and I brought him to the emergency room and he was still hunched over. Um, it just, I thought he was in just some kind of a severe pain. And then when the doctor came in and started to examine him, my son was whispering, um, and I overheard it. And my son is also hearing impaired, so it's kind of hard to understand him. But he said, "The cane, Charlie," and that is a scene with Grandpa Joe trying to get out of bed in the Willy Wonka movie. And I thought, oh no, oh no. Okay, so the doctor's like, "Well, I'm going to think about this. I'll come right back." And I then went to my son and I said, "What do we sing when the Oompa Loompas come out?" And he just jumped up and started doing the Oompa Loompa dance. And I'm like, oh no. Doctor came back in and we all wrote it off to, we had to put something down. So he wrote it off as a behavioral change. And we went home. But yes, that's how fun. My son's very fun, but he's always reenacting a movie of some kind.
Yeah. When we did genetics testing, neurology is who actually suggested that we go see genetics down the sidewalk. And the purpose for the genetics testing was to see if we can find out what was causing the neutropenia and what was causing the laryngomalacia and all of that. Because, like, seeing him when he's still tiny for his age because of the failure to thrive, but he was super tiny then. And at this time, we were like, yeah, we got to figure out the medical complexities, like the history behind this, and see if we can get this baby going. So they were like, let's do some genetics testing to see if, like, something is causing him to be so sickly. And they told me it would take about 6 to 9 months for results to come back. Results came back at about 7 months. And I remember being at work and I was so nervous because, and it's a shame that, like, moms who live in my world, we check my chart like some people check social media. So we're always like, okay, what email, what results are like coming in? Like, yes, the app is right there. And I remember getting a my chart message. And I tell people all the time, it's always like the battle of the mind when I'm at work and I get something like that. Cause I'm like, do I check it at work? If it's the results that I don't need to be, like, my mind is not going to be focused on the kids that I need to be working with. And I remember on my lunch break, went in the office with the nurse at work and we opened them together. And I was like, what is this? And she Googled it and she was like, yes, I've heard of it, but like, I don't know much about it. So I was like, okay, we're going to wait till geneticist reaches out. And they told me what it was. But at the time, it made sense. But the mommy in me, because I've had years of working in the clinical setting with children with autism and things, I was like, okay, my child, like,
Oh yeah, I mean, I use humor a lot. They even put in my chart in the ICU making jokes, and you know, and I think sometimes they thought I was better than I was just because I was cracking a joke. But I sort of I was like, it's really funny. I've never been funnier than in on my deathbed. Like, you make a joke when you're dying, people laugh. Like, it's pretty funny how, like, every joke lands when you're almost dead. But I do think for me, like, if there's a joke to be made, I will make it. That's just my personality. Maybe it's because I'm Irish. I don't know. But I think it's a way I see the world. I try to find the humor in situations. It doesn't mean I make light of the situation. It just means that humor is a way of coping. It's a way of seeing the world. And it's a way of trying to, I don't know, survive an unbearably scary situation. Like, if you can find humor in a dark place, you kind of take your control back in a strange way. So I always say, if you can make a joke, if you're dying, make a joke because people will laugh. I mean, a lot of comedians have a dark side. That's the truth of it, right? We hear that all the time, right? And a lot of the funniest people I know have really been through a lot of hardship. And I think there is something about taking the scariest parts of us and being able to look. I mean, I think a lot of humor is both surprise and connection. Like, we find it funny because it either surprises us or it's like something we like deeply understand. And I think both of those things are very very common in this, like, survival experience. I also think I use humor to connect. I'm not making jokes by myself, in a room. Sometimes I'll think about one, but, like, it'll make me laugh. But, like, with my team or with my husband, like, it's just a way of taking back power in a situation. And honestly, it's a lot. It's very difficult when everything is really scary, right? Like,
Mhm.
if you can find a way to, like, I like, one of the things I would talk about is my dialysis machine, my constant dialysis machine. It sounded like it would say live or die, live or die, live or die, live or die, live or die. And I was like, I have to listen. It's like all I would hear from this machine. And then I mentioned it to the residents because I was like, is it just me or does this sound like the machine is saying live or die? And they were like, now we can't stop hearing it. They're like, in the ICU, whenever we see this machine, that is what it sounds like. Live or die, live or, like, it was just like, and just like those kinds of observations, it's like both very truthful and really honest and raw.